Welcome inside the State Champs Sports Network studios for another edition of State Champs Ohio Extra Point. I'm your host, Jeremy Otto. This program is presented by Lawrence Technological University. Lawrence Tech has over 24 varsity sports, and you can recruit yourself. Just go to LTUathletics.com, click the Recruit Yourself link, fill out a short questionnaire, and a coach will get back to you in just 48 hours. But we also want to encourage you to check out our Ohio Extra Point podcast everywhere and anywhere you listen to podcasts. This week, St. Edward head coach Tom Lombardo joined us. More on that later in the show. For a full list of the various State Champs podcasts, there's a lot of them, you can follow us on Spreaker, search State Champs today. Well, we made it out to some exciting matchups last week. Let's check out those highlights now. Up north, Avon Lake took on Avon, and the rivalry didn't disappoint. Avon jumped out to a 10-0 lead, but the Shoremen came back. Jake DePaul going deep to Matt Stewie, setting up an Avon Lake score here. The Shoremen would be up 16-10. Avery Viancourt blocks the punt attempt here, and Pearden Pepe is there for the score. DePaul would add another through the air, connecting with Stewie again, giving Avon Lake a 30-10 advantage at the half. Eagles trying to mount a comeback behind Sam DiTilio and Jacorian Caffey, 30-17. The two would connect for another score, making this a 6-point game. The final minutes and the Eagles driving, but the Shoremen force a fumble and secure the rock as Avon Lake beats their rivals from Avon for the first time since 2018, 30-24. Down to Cincinnati now. The 2-1 Lakota West Firebirds at home taking on the 3-0 Princeton Vikings. This game was all on QB Mitch Bolden for the Firebirds. After an early field goal, Bolden takes it into his own hands for a nice run, expanding the lead to 10-zip. Cameron Good collects his dump-off pass and efforts his way into the end zone. And once more before halftime, Bolden with a dart to Brown, who falls in for 6. There was no scoring in the second half as the Firebirds keep the train rolling, beating Princeton 24-0. The Benedictine Bengals making a trip down to Columbus to take on the Bishop Hartley Hawk. The Bengals would kick off the scoring, and C.J. Yarborough finds Marvin Conkle on the sideline. Great tiptoe to stay in bounds. Benedictine up 7. The Hawks got the ball moving in the second. Trayvon Saunders gets it all the way down to the 5, just short of the paint. How about Deontay Hubbard as well, answering the bell on the next play, but the Bengals still had a 10-point lead. In the second half, check out Yarborough with the moves to escape the pressure. He takes off down the sideline and into the end zone. Benedictine stays perfect as they beat Bishop Hartley 38-17. Well, let's not forget the other games we covered this week as well. Toledo Central Catholic handled business against Findlay 41-6, and Marymount charged into Madeira, winning 31-7. You can check out all the highlights everywhere you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. Well, as mentioned earlier in the show, we had a chance to chat with St. Edward head coach Tom Lombardo. He talks about the development of his QB Christian Ramos here.
Christian Ramos has been kind of that nice double threat for you guys. I know you're throwing maybe a bit more. How has he developed over the years at the quarterback spot?
Boy, I mean, just night and day from last year. He's not even the same player. Last year, he really struggled with his reads, and the game was too fast for him, and he didn't understand coverages and that kind of stuff. And he would admittedly tell this to you, but he was always had talent. I mean, he could throw the ball, he could run the ball. He's a dual threat guy. This year, the game is just slowed down. He understands everything, knows what we're trying to accomplish on a particular play, and is just so poised and in command back there. And it's just so great to see. I mean, and as a result, you know, we're averaging well into the 40s a game. So I think it's a direct correlation to his play.
And is that something that he realized kind of in the offseason, or a little bit of both coaching and his work that he put in?
Absolutely. He realized it. He knew what he had to do, and he went to work and did it. And that's been it. Yes. To answer your question, yes.
Is there a next step for him as you guys, march towards the playoffs?
Well, he's a guy that I think should be opening some eyes in college and stuff, to get a quarterback off the radar. He's got a scholarship to Bowling Green and baseball already, but I might have to call Coach Leffler there and say, listen, you might have a quarterback too.
Well, thanks again, Coach, for joining us. We certainly appreciate it. To hear the full interview with Coach, log on to StateChampsNetwork.com or search Ohio Extra Point wherever you listen to your podcast. Let's take a look now at the game State Champs will be featuring this week. A lot of good ones on the slate. First homecoming game of the year as Berkshire travels to Independence. Upper Arlington looking to continue their hot start against Central Crossing, who kicked off the season 3-1 themselves. Big Walnut hosting Westerville South in an Ohio Capital Conference matchup. A pair of undefeateds in Cincinnati pair off as Reading hosts Wyoming. And at Nippert Stadium, two powerhouses square off as St. Xavier and Archbishop Moeller clash. You won't want to miss that one. That's all the time we have for you this week. I want to thank once again Coach Tom Lombardo for joining us and our sponsor, Lawrence Technological University, where you can recruit yourself. Just go to LTUathletics.com. I'm Jeremy Otto. We'll see you next week.